tell you what, Brian, people are a little bit restless about this news. The NRL to allow Roosters to bring Mark Nawaqanitawase in after the Olympics. So this is the Roosters statement. The Sydney Roosters have today received confirmation that the NRL contract of Mark Nawaqanitawase has been registered, enabling him to take the final position in the club's 2024 NRL Top 30 roster. Having secured an early release from his rugby contract, Nawaqanitawase will link with the Roosters upon the conclusion of his commitments at the Paris 2024 Olympics, which commence later this month. Thoughts?
Problem? What's the problem?
No problem. No problem.
There's no precedent set before they're allowed to do this. So they've signed him.
Yeah.
Just letting him go on a bit of a break.
Well,
to Paris.
I'm going to get to those unhappy about it.
Who's unhappy about it?
Well, South Sydney aren't happy about it.
Why?
Raiders aren't happy about it.
Why?
I'll get to that very shortly. Trent Robinson, on the other hand, is happy about it. He said, we're really pleased to be in a position to have Mark join us once his commitments in Paris are over. While Mark will be taking the final spot in our roster for 2024, our focus won't be on rushing him into the NRL, but about fast-tracking his transition to rugby league. We're looking forward to officially welcoming Mark to the Roosters next month, and we wish him all the very best in his representative duties at the Olympics. Bon chance.
Bon chance, which, if my French is correct, good luck.
Good luck. Here he is, Trent Robinson, on the announcement.
Ouais, c'était très vite. Bien sûr, j'avais un attachement depuis que j'étais là, pendant 4 ans, entre 95 et 98. C'est le même président. Et après, je reparti de là pour entraîner.
Okay.
Je savais pas jusqu'à cette semaine.
Okay, I've heard enough. I agree with Don Ferner and Blake Solly. This should not happen. This should not happen.
Blake Solly, not happy with the rule. The CEO at the South Sydney Rabbitohs. How is this different to a player going to Japanese or French rugby for a short stint during the season or off-season? Solly, in the past, the NRL has not allowed players to play rugby union while registered as an NRL player. It would be good to just know more about why this has been allowed when so many cases in the past have been rejected. My issue isn't with the Roosters. My issue is with the lack of transparency on these sorts of decisions.
Yeah, my advice to Blake is just don't say anything because you're going to wake up with a horse's head in your bed and just drop off.
Yeah, the Raiders CEO, Don Ferner.
Oh, no, Donnie.
As long as those rules apply to every club, he said, if that is the new rule, the new exception, then those exceptions must be available to all clubs. And if this is the new rule, then we'll now start looking at the Brumbies players.
Yeah. No, he's got to be an Olympian. He's got to be going to Paris. That's the only caveat. So it was only this year and only this Olympics.
Yes.
And it had to be Paris.
Yes.
So when Paris rolls around again, go for your life.
And
boys.
must have X amount of syllables in your surname.
Yeah.
Okay, got that. What about this? What about this, Roosters fans? The Roosters are looking to add to the 2025 roster by signing Cowboys veteran halfback Chad Townsend.
Wow.
Is in negotiation with the Roosters about a one-year contract for 2025. Townsend, who was off contract at the end of this year, is keen to return to Sydney and play on for one more season. Provides depth in the halves with Luke Keir retiring at the end of 2024 and mentor Sam Walker and Sandon Smith. He met with the Bulldogs recently, but the 33-year-old is likely to head to Bondi. Thoughts on the Chad to the Chooks?
The Chad to the Chooks, yeah. They'd earmarked young Sandon Smith to be playing 6. He hasn't really had much of a go because Keary's obviously been playing good. It depends on how much.
How much you reckon?
200?
He was on 800, I think, wasn't he, the Cowboys?
200?
You reckon that's about it to get him home?
Well, what are they going to do? Are they going to go with Sam and Sandon Smith at the start of the year? He's just a backup?
I reckon it's a 4. Halfback.
I reckon so too.
Yeah.
But I would be paying 400 for it.
No.
Not when you've got these two kids here. I think you've just got to bite the bullet and say, right, I will give Sandon Smith a go. But Robbo knows best. So I'm starting to think maybe that Chad's going to start.
There's an example tourist in the NFL where, is it Russell Wilson, where you've got an older statesman coming in behind maybe a quarterback on the rise? Is it Russell Wilson?
Well, Russell Wilson got traded to the Steelers.
Steelers, yeah.
And then they also traded for the Bears' young guy, Justin Fields.
Yes, that's
So
right.
it's kind of similar. And they've got a young guy who's they're not sure about, and they've got an old guy who they're not sure about, and they're hoping one of them comes good. I'm trying to think of a better, if there's another example, but yeah.
Pretty close, isn't it, to that?
It's kind of close,
You
yeah.
can't pay a kid. He's not a kid. Chad Townsend, you're going to pay him $400 to play second grade? That's not going to happen.
Well, as sort of tourists are alluding to with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they don't really know. So instead of paying 800 or 900,000 for a premium half, it feels as though they've got an each way bet where what's Sandon going to be getting? 300 or 400?
Yeah. I think you go all in on Sandon Smith. I would just go all in. Just say to him, because how's that going to make him feel now?
But that's what I'm saying.
No, if you're Sandon Smith, you know, he's only played a couple of games. He got injured, but when he's come back, he's played a little bit, just coming off the bench. But I would just say, righto, this is your spot.
I tend to agree.
He'll be 34 next year.
They're scorned by injury this year, though, the Chooks. They're heavily paranoid about injuries, aren't they? And as they should. They've had a lot go down.
Yeah, but I suppose Chad's off the market now, so no other club can pinch him. The Bulldogs, really?
Yeah.
Why don't you? I tell you what they should be doing: getting the answer back. Let Chad go to the Bulldogs. Let's get the answer back where he belongs.
As a Roosters fan, would you prefer the answer or
I
Chad?
would, absolutely.
I think you're right.
I prefer the answer.
I think you're exactly right.
The answer is they all love him.
Yep.
He's the prodigal son.
Yep. He'll understand his role in the team.
Can I do this in French, Robbo? How do I say in French, get the answer back?
That's right.
Can you?
Très vite, bien sûr, j'avais un attachement.
Yeah,
There you go. Thanks, Robbo.
Let's get I agree with you.
Let Chad go to the Dogs.
Yep.
Let him go have his spring rolls with Gus.
Yeah.
The answer, just come back. Just come back and
What about this one, right? So Tilly Tupanua, him signing with the Bulldogs. I'm fascinated by this because Canterbury are taking on the contract as it is for the next 2 years, and then they've added a third year on.
I know what you're thinking. Burton to the Chooks.
No, it wasn't. Now, what I'm thinking is, then why do the Roosters not want to pay that? I'd be just nervous about that if I was Canterbury. Why do they not want to pay it, but the Bulldogs are more than happy to pay it? What's going on?
Done. Nick and Gus are very tight.
But what do they know? What do the Roosters know that the Bulldogs don't know?
They wouldn't. They wouldn't. Gus would be all over it. Gus would know exactly what's going on.
So why do the Roosters not see value at the current contract clearly, but the Bulldogs most certainly do?
Because they've got they've got back rowers coming out the Chaminda. They've got the Butcher Boys. They've got young Steep.
You just think it's a surplus of needs?
Yeah, I think that's all I think it is.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to think, could there be a Birdo raid?
Oh.
Burton to 6.
So this is his third year, isn't it?
I'm not saying anything, Bulldogs fans, but it's been awfully quiet. It reminds me of the time CC just joined.
Cooper Cronk. Brad Fittler.
No one even heard about it.
There's a big name landing in Bondi.
I still keep hearing the Mitchell Moses rumour, but
yeah.
I still keep
What's
hearing
his
that.
contract? We need to look at this. Pick one NRL winner each week for the chance to win $2,500. Head to snsurvivor.com.au. That is thanks to Bryden's Lawyers. The Trade Hour. Get comfortable results with bluestarac.com.au. There is a gluttony of text coming through, and if it's not being read out, I'm blaming one.
Here we go.
Man, the text board bears it.
I'll do it right here. Radelaide Rooster. G'day, fellas. As an interstate Roosters member, I would rather the Sandon Smith Walker combo. No Chad. There's no Chad here. Arvo, fellas, have you heard that Jason Riles has knocked back the Eels job? This is from Dan.
Ooh.
Due to their indecisiveness. And now the Eels have approached Todd Payton. It's interesting considering Payton's wife and kids have moved back to Sydney, plus he's mates with Mark O'Neill, head of recruitment.
Have 5 each way on that.
Oh, Dan.
Have 5 each way on that.
Dan. Maybe Chad is cover for Walker when he plays Origin next year. Jack. Fletch, I'm going to send in a video of Chad Townsend. Is worth a watch. It's a 30-second compilation that one of the dribblers put together. We'll send it via Instagram. Thank you,
Samara.
Smoke and mirrors from the Chooks. They have their eyes on Moses Barnow. That's what I've heard.
Yep.
I've tried to get out of Rico. He's a board member, but he won't leak.
No, Neil by leak.
Because usually he sings like a canary.
Does he?
Oh, yeah, after he has family dinners over there.
And why do canaries sing, Brian?
For the gas.
Yes.
Because, they're budgies.
In the coal mines, wasn't it?
Budgies?
No, I think it was canaries, wasn't it?
Canaries or budgies? I thought that it was the budgies in the mine because their lungs are so small, so there's a little bit of a gas leak, brown bread,
Yes.
and that means bale. I think the canaries is something different.
Well,
'cause
if you
they
know,
sing like a canary.
what does that mean? Give us a clue
Oh,
here.
well.
1300 01 1170. I love how organised Brian is too with all the games coming up for each team. Thank you for that, Brian.
No problem. So as you can see here, the Bulldogs. I'll go into more depth after this, but